The galaxy gathered to watch. In the center of the spiral arms, there was a place older than empires, a hollow carved in space itself, the great arena of stars. Here, fleets tested their pride. Here, new species proved their worth or were forgotten. The arena shimmered with light as thousands of alien warships took position, their metal bodies reflecting starlight like blades of silver, red, and gold. But today, all eyes turned to the smallest ship in the field. It was human, and it looked pitiful. Compared to the towering cruisers and battleships, the human vessel seemed more like a lifeboat than a warship. Its hull was thin, almost fragile. Its surface was plain with no glowing cannons, no fortress armor, no wings bristling with missiles. It drifted quiet and calm in the middle of the arena. The aliens laughed. Their voices carried across the comms, translated into every tongue. "Is this a joke? A toy ship?" sneered a scaled commander from the Car Dominion, whose battle cruiser was 10 times larger. "Perhaps Earth misunderstood the invitation," said a Lurian admiral, her voice sharp like broken glass. "We asked for a warship, not a fishing boat." A ripple of cruel laughter filled the airwaves. Around the arena, alien civilians watched from massive screens, millions of eyes focused on the contest. To them, humans were still children in space, a young species, only a few centuries beyond their first rockets. The other empires had colonized thousands of systems. Humans had barely begun, and now here they were with this fragile thing. Inside the vessel, the human officers sat at their posts. Their uniforms were plain, their faces calm. Not one of them reacted to the laughter echoing through the arena. They adjusted controls, checked readings, and waited. The captain, an older man with iron-gray hair, stood silently at the command station. His hands rested behind his back, his eyes fixed on the stars beyond the viewport. He did not speak. He did not smile. This silence made the aliens uneasy. On the main channel, the council speaker, a tall being with wings of crystal, addressed the crowd. "The contest begins today. The species of Earth has brought forward its chosen ship to stand in trial. We will see if they are fit for respect, or if they are nothing but dust among the stars." The alien fleets cheered, confident of the outcome. Against their iron giants, the human vessel had no chance. Yet still the humans waited. The alien commanders exchanged mocking comments. "Perhaps they want to surrender early," one hissed. "Yes," another agreed. "That would save them from embarrassment." But the human ship sent no signal of surrender. Its engines burned faintly, holding position. Its crew stared ahead, eyes steady. Not one flinched under the storm of insults. The Car Dominion commander leaned back in his chair, amused. "Look at them. They don't even know they are weak." The fragile hull of the human ship reflected the light of the surrounding fleets. It looked like paper against steel, like a shadow among mountains. Any strike from the alien warships would crush it in a heartbeat. So why were the humans calm? The question whispered through the alien ranks, though none spoke it aloud. From orbiting stations, alien civilians pointed and laughed. To them, the humans were fools. To bring such a thin craft into the arena was madness. Yet curiosity flickered too. A quiet thought spread among the crowd. What if there was something more? Inside the fragile ship, the captain finally spoke, his voice low and steady. "Hold your posts. The storm will pass," the crew answered with calm acknowledgements. Not one asked what he meant. Not one showed doubt. They had trained for this moment, though the galaxy could not understand. For 1,000 years, humanity had carried a secret, a design hidden and protected across generations, a dream older than the nations that now ruled Earth, a ship born not of pride but of patience. And now, at the edge of the galaxy, mocked and surrounded, that secret waited inside the fragile hull. The arena lights shifted, signaling the first trial was near. Engines across the alien fleets roared. Weapons glowed, preparing to measure strength. The human vessel floated quietly, small and weak, like prey among predators. The laughter grew louder, but it carried a nervous edge now. The human calm was unnatural. Species about to be destroyed did not sit so still. The crystal-winged speaker raised his staff. "The trial begins." In that moment, the galaxy believed it would witness humanity's humiliation. A fragile toy ship crushed by real warships, but inside the thin hull, beyond the silent faces of its crew, beyond the calm of its captain's eyes, something older than any alien empire began to stir. Something the aliens had never seen before, something that would turn mockery into fear, and as the first challenge lit the stars with fire, the humans waited, not because they were weak, but because they knew, because their ship was no toy, it was a secret, 1,000 years old. The first trial began with silence. Then, the arena of stars roared to life. Energy storms blossomed at the edges of the field, purple waves of radiation tearing across the black. The council speaker's voice rang out, translated into every language. The first challenge, survival in the radiation fields. Only ships with strong shields endure. Weak vessels will wither. The alien fleet straightened proudly, their shields glowing bright. Massive domes of energy shimmered around their ships, protecting them from the deadly radiation. To them, this test was routine. All eyes turned to the human vessel. It drifted into the storm, its thin hull glinting faintly. No bright shield flared around it. No layers of armor unfolded. It looked like a leaf about to be burned in fire. The aliens laughed again. Finished already, one commander muttered. They have no shielding, another sneered. The humans will be cooked alive. Radiation struck. Purple fire slammed into the alien warships, their shields glowing hotter. Even the strongest ships groaned under the weight. Plasma waves scorched the void, trying to pierce through protective barriers. But the human vessel, it moved forward without hesitation. Radiation washed across it like water on glass. The thin hull glimmered strangely, bending the storm around it. Instead of burning, the fragile ship slid through the radiation, as if it were harmless mist. Alien eyes widened. This, impossible, hissed a Lurian scientist watching her readings. Their shield, where is it? I detect nothing. On the comms, nervous chatter rose. The humans had no glowing defenses, no massive shield domes. Yet they did not burn. They did not even falter. Inside the vessel, the crew remained calm. Their monitors flickered with streams of numbers, patterns of radiation twisting harmlessly away. The captain stood unmoving, his gaze steady. Course stable, the navigator reported. Radiation deflected, said another. The captain only nodded. Continue. From the outside it looked like madness. A fragile ship with no defenses, gliding smoothly through a storm that crushed other fleets. The alien crowds grew quiet. Their laughter faded into whispers. One car commander slammed his clawed hand onto his console. Tricks, this is deception. The humans use hidden shielding. But his engineers shook their heads. No shielding detected, Commander. It's something else. The fragile human vessel reached the heart of the storm. Here radiation was strongest, a death zone where only the most advanced ships could survive for long. Alien fleets kept their distance, careful not to push too far. But the human ship sailed directly through. For a moment, the arena was silent. The storm bent strangely around the vessel, like space itself refused to touch it. Then the thin ship emerged on the other side, hull glowing faintly, unharmed. The arena erupted in confusion. This is not possible, shouted one alien lord. They should be dust, another cried. The council speaker raised his staff, his crystal wings flickering uneasily. Even he had no words. The human ship had passed the first challenge, calmly, effortlessly. The fragile vessel slowed to a halt, waiting again in silence. Its crew showed no sign of triumph, no celebration. They did not bow or boast. They simply waited for the next test, their faces still as stone. That calm was worse than arrogance. It made the aliens uneasy. On private channels, whispers spread among the fleets. What are they hiding? Perhaps it is a weapon disguised as weakness. No. Joe, this is something older. Inside the fragile hull, the captain stood straight, eyes never leaving the stars. He spoke quietly. Patience. They will test us again. The crew nodded. They had trained for this moment their entire lives. To them, the laughter of aliens was just noise. The fragile ship was no toy. It was the work of centuries, the dream of countless generations who had guarded a secret too precious to reveal until now. The aliens had thought humanity was new to space, children still crawling among the stars. They did not know that humans had begun preparing long before first contact. Long before Earth was noticed, the radiation storm faded, but the fear remained. Alien commanders no longer laughed. They whispered, their eyes fixed on the human vessel. What power hides in that hull? How can weakness survive where strength fails? The council speaker finally spoke again, though his voice trembled slightly. The humans have passed the first challenge. The arena shook with mixed reactions. Some booed, some cheered, some sat in shocked silence. The fragile ship drifted back into position, still waiting, still silent, and still carrying a secret 1,000 years old. The aliens prepared the second trial, gravity storms near the edge of a black hole. This time, they told themselves the fragile ship would break, but deep inside, unease spread because humanity was not afraid. The arena of stars shifted again. The first trial was over, but the galaxy still buzzed with disbelief. How could a fragile human ship survive a storm of radiation without shields? The alien fleets had no answer. Their laughter had died. Now their eyes were sharp, watching closely, searching for cracks. The council speaker raised his crystal staff once more. His voice echoed across the void. The second challenge, navigation through gravity storms. The path lies near the edge of the black void. Ships must endure the pull of a newborn black hole. Fail and you are swallowed, the aliens cheered. This was different from radiation. Shields could not save you here. Only raw power, engines strong enough to fight the pull, would matter. The black hole pulsed at the edge of the arena, its gravity twisting space like a whirlpool. Streams of broken light bent around it, devouring the stars. Even the strongest alien warships trembled at the thought of entering, yet the fragile human vessel moved forward without pause. Alien admirals exchanged looks of grim amusement. Now we shall see. No papercraft escapes a black hole. One by one, ships entered the gravity storm. Their engines roared, forcing against the pull. Massive cruisers burned fuel like fire to keep from being dragged into the abyss. Their hulls groaned under the strain. The human ship drifted in. It did not roar. It did not groan. It simply moved, as if the pull did not exist. Alien scanners blinked red with confusion. Numbers twisted into nonsense. This cannot be, one technician whispered. Their thrust output is too low. It should not even hold position. Then how do they move? A commander demanded. The technician could only shake her head. Inside the fragile vessel, the crew worked in silence. Their consoles glowed with strange patterns, numbers not seen in alien systems, equations too old for the empires to understand. The navigator spoke calmly. Gravitational fields aligned. Path is clear. The captain nodded once. Proceed. The human ship turned, not against the gravity, but with it. Where alien vessels fought to resist the pull, the fragile craft bent with the storm, sliding along invisible lines of force. It glided where others struggled, almost dancing on the edge of the black hole's hunger. From the outside, it looked like sorcery. Alien fleets strained, their engines burning white, yet still dragged closer to danger. The human ship, with no struggle, drifted past them, calm as a feather on water. Gasps filled the arena. One alien admiral slammed his fist onto the console. This is trickery. They use a hidden drive. But his engineers disagreed. No, the gravity itself bends around them. Their ship moves like it belongs here. The fragile ship crossed the storm in minutes, its course smooth and perfect. It emerged on the far side, untouched, unshaken. Silence gripped the arena. The aliens stared at their readings, trying to understand. Their laughter was gone now. In its place was fear. On private channels, voices whispered, "What are they hiding? Engines cannot do this. Have the humans stolen ancient technology?" Inside the fragile vessel, the captain remained still. His eyes, cold and calm, looked beyond the stars. "Challenge complete," the navigator reported. The captain's voice was steady. "Hold position. Let them wonder." The crew exchanged quiet glances. They knew the secret. They had lived their lives training for this moment, protecting what humanity had kept hidden for 1,000 years, but the aliens did not know. They only saw the impossible, a fragile ship gliding through storms that bent steel and crushed worlds. The council speaker hesitated, his crystal wings trembling. For the first time, doubt touched his voice. "The humans have passed the second challenge." The words rang through the arena, heavy with disbelief. Some alien fleets roared in protest, demanding answers. Others fell silent, unsettled. None laughed. The fragile human vessel waited once more, engines humming softly. To the galaxy it seemed weaker than ever, small, plain, without weapons. Yet now it carried a shadow of terror. What power let it glide through gravity itself? The aliens would soon demand answers, but the humans would not reveal their secret. Not yet. They knew the time was coming. They knew the galaxy's pride would not let this stand, and when the final challenge came, the fragile ship would show a power the aliens had never dreamed of, something older than their empires, older than their fleets, something 1,000 years in the making. The arena lights shifted once more. The third trial was over. The next would not be a test of nature. It would be a test of war, and for the first time, the aliens were not certain they wanted to see what the fragile human vessel could do. The arena of stars no longer laughed. When the human ship first arrived, the galaxy mocked. They saw weakness. They saw a toy vessel, fragile and bare. But after 2 trials, after radiation storms bent harmlessly around it and a black hole's pull failed to claim it, no one mocked anymore. Now, they whispered. Across the fleets, alien admirals leaned close to their officers, their voices low. What is it? A hidden shield? A secret drive? No, others said. Something older. Something we do not understand. Fear spread like smoke. The council speaker lifted his staff, his crystal wings trembling. His voice echoed, but it lacked the strength it once carried. The humans have completed 2 trials. The third shall test their strength in battle. Battle, the word rolled across the arena like thunder. This was what the galaxy lived for. Power, fire, domination. The trials of nature could be explained away as tricks. But war revealed truth, and the aliens were certain. No fragile craft could stand against a true warship. The chosen opponent was announced. A cruiser of the Zorath Empire, 300 meters long, plated in black iron and lined with cannons that could tear moons apart. Its commander's voice snarled through the comms. I will crush this toy and end the farce. The alien crowds cheered, their fear hidden behind anger. At last, they thought, the humans would break. The fragile vessel drifted into position. Its thin hull gleamed faintly under the starlight. No cannons extended. No shields glowed. It looked even smaller beside the massive Zorath cruiser. The commander of the cruiser gave one final mocking message. Earth should have stayed home. He fired. Beams of burning plasma cut across the arena, slamming into the human vessel. The crowd held its breath, expecting fire, wreckage, destruction, but the beams struck nothing. The fragile ship was gone. Gasps filled the void. Screens flickered. The cruiser's cannons fired into empty space. The human ship reappeared on the far side of the arena. It had not dodged. It had not resisted. It had vanished and returned. Teleportation. Not the rough, dangerous kind known to some species, which ripped matter apart or drained impossible energy. No, this was smooth, clean. The human ship slipped through space as if it were water, reappearing whole and untouched. Alien commanders froze, their jaws tightening. Teleportation this perfect was a dream. Whole fleets had tried and failed to make it real. And yet the humans had done it, quietly inside a fragile hull. The Zorath commander screamed orders. His cruiser spun, weapons blazing, firing volley after volley. But the human ship was always elsewhere. Each blast tore only emptiness. Each cannon strike missed. The fragile vessel did not fire a single shot. It did not need to. The arena watched as the mighty cruiser raged, its power useless against a ghost. The human vessel drifted calmly, teleporting again and again, slipping through space without effort. The alien crowds grew silent. The fear was no longer hidden. Inside the fragile ship, the crew worked steadily. Their consoles glowed with shifting numbers, patterns that guided each jump. The navigator spoke softly. Coordinates aligned. The captain gave a single nod. Proceed, and the ship vanished once more. When it reappeared, it was directly behind the Zorath cruiser, close enough that the massive warship's cannons could not turn in time. The fragile vessel did not attack. It only held position, its engines humming softly like a shadow against the cruiser's iron. The message was clear. If the humans wanted, they could end this battle in an instant. The Zorath commander froze. His claws hovered over his controls. Rage fought with terror in his eyes. He did not fire again. The council speaker's voice broke the silence. The humans have completed the third challenge. No cheers followed. No laughter. Only silence, heavy and sharp, filling the arena. The fragile ship drifted back into position, waiting once more, and the galaxy trembled. Whispers spread across the fleets. They can bend radiation, ride gravity, slip through space. What else do they hide? If this is only their smallest ship, what of the rest? The humans said nothing. They did not boast, did not explain. Their calm was worse than words. It told the galaxy that what they had seen was only the beginning. Inside the fragile vessel, the captain looked at the stars, his voice quiet. Patience. They will break themselves before they break us. The crew nodded. They knew the truth. They had guarded it for centuries. The fragile ship was no weapon of pride. It was a message, a warning, and the galaxy had begun to understand. But fear is dangerous. It does not sit quietly. Fear demands answers. Fear demands control. And the alien empires would not let this mystery stand. As the fragile ship waited, the arena whispered with dread. Because if humanity carried this power in silence for 1,000 years, what else had they kept hidden? The arena of stars was silent. 3 trials had passed. The fragile human vessel had survived radiation storms without shields, glided through a black hole's gravity without effort, and humiliated a mighty cruiser without firing a shot. The galaxy no longer mocked. Now, they demanded answers. Admirals shouted across comms, their voices sharp with fear. What are they hiding? No species this young should have such power. They must surrender their technology at once. Crowds across the stars echoed the same questions. For the first time in memory, the empires were united, not in pride but in unease. The council speaker raised his crystal staff. His voice trembled. Humans, you will explain yourselves. What power drives your fragile ship? What secrets do you conceal? The fragile vessel remained silent. Its thin hull reflected the lights of the arena. Its crew sat calm, their hands steady, their eyes fixed forward. Finally, the human captain stepped into the light of the viewport. His iron-grey hair glinted faintly, his voice low but carrying across the channels. This ship is not new, he said. It is old. Older than your empires. Older than your wars. The aliens froze. The captain continued. 1,000 years ago, when Earth was still unknown to the galaxy, our ancestors dreamed of reaching the stars. They were weak, yes. Their ships were fragile. But they carried something you have long forgotten. Patience. He gestured around him to the plain walls of the vessel. This design was born then, not now. 1,000 years of hidden work, passed from one generation to the next, tested in silence, guarded in secret. You call us children in space, but children do not carry 1,000-year-old dreams. The arena erupted in noise. Some aliens shouted in disbelief, others in anger. A few sat in silence, the truth striking too deep. The captain's voice cut through the chaos. You build fleets of iron and fire. You grow louder, larger, stronger. But we chose another path. We listened. We studied. We built not for today, but for tomorrow. We built for 1,000 tomorrows. He turned slightly, his eyes steady. This ship does not fight against space. It moves with it. Radiation bends, gravity flows, distance folds. Your weapons strike air because you do not yet understand what we learned long ago. The universe itself is our shield, our engine, our path. The alien commanders stared, stunned. Some shook their heads. Lies! One roared. No child race could build this. But deep inside they knew. The evidence was in front of them. The fragile ship had not resisted the galaxy's power. It had mastered it. The human captain gave no smile, no boast. Only calm words. You ask for our secret. Here it is, patience. While you raced for conquest, we studied the fabric beneath your wars. While you laughed at our weakness, we waited. For 1,000 years we waited, he paused. Silence gripped the arena. Now, he said softly, we are done waiting. The words fell like stone. Alien fleets shifted uneasily, their ships drifting as if distance could shield them from the truth. The fragile vessel floated still, smaller than them all, yet heavier than any warship present. The council speaker's crystal wings dimmed. His voice faltered. If this is true, then humanity is not what we believed. Inside the fragile ship, the crew sat straight, their eyes hard. They had carried the secret all their lives, sworn to silence, sworn to patience. Now the galaxy finally knew, but knowing was not the same as understanding. Whispers spread through the fleets. If they waited 1,000 years for this moment, what are they waiting for now? If this is only one ship, how many more exist? What else have they hidden? The fragile vessel offered no answer. Its silence was its final weapon, sharper than any cannon. For the first time, the empires of the galaxy feared not a fleet, not a weapon, not a war, but patience. Human patience, because they understood now weakness can be mocked, strength can be challenged, but patience. Patience is unstoppable, and humanity had been patient for 1,000 years. The fragile ship turned slowly, its engines glowing faintly. It returned to its place in the arena, silent as ever, its secret revealed but not explained. The galaxy had asked for truth, and they had received it. But the truth was worse than they feared, because the fragile ship was only the beginning. The arena of stars trembled with whispers. The human captain's words echoed still. "We are done waiting." For 1,000 years humanity had guarded its secret. For 1,000 years they had prepared in silence. And now, with one fragile ship, they had shown the galaxy that strength did not come from size or weapons or noise. It came from patience. The alien fleets no longer mocked. They feared. Inside the command decks of mighty warships, admirals spoke in hushed tones. They bend radiation. They ride gravity. They slip through space itself. If this is only their smallest ship, then their fleets must already be beyond us. Fear turned quickly to anger. Pride would not let the empires bow. The Zorath commander, humiliated by the duel he could not win, snarled over the comms. "This is unacceptable. We demand the human ship be seized. Their secret must belong to the galaxy, not a child species." Others joined him. "Yes, take it. Capture the humans before they vanish into shadow again." But others hesitated. They had seen too much. "Fool," one whispered. "Attack and you will vanish as the cruiser did, helpless. Still, fear is dangerous. Fear demands control." The council speaker raised his staff. His crystal wings dimmed. His voice shook. "Humans, if you carry such power, you must share it. The balance of the galaxy demands it." For the first time, the human captain smiled faintly. A small, cold smile. "We shared nothing for 1,000 years," he said. "Do you think we will begin now?" The words cut through the arena. The alien fleet stirred, unease hardening into dread. Inside the fragile vessel, the crew prepared silently. Their consoles glowed with strange numbers, patterns only humans understood. They were not afraid. They knew what came next. The Zorath commander could hold no longer. Pride burned hotter than fear. His voice roared across the channels. "All ships target the humans. Fire at will." Gasps filled the arena. Attacking during a trial was forbidden. But rage cared nothing for rules. Engines flared. Cannons turned. The fleets of 3 empires locked weapons on the fragile human ship. The void filled with the light of charging plasma. Still, the human vessel did not move. Its crew sat steady. The captain stood tall, his voice calm. "Now, they will see." The first volley fired. Blinding beams tore through the arena, converging on the fragile ship, and missed not because the ship dodged, not because it hid, because the beams bent. At the last instant, space itself shifted. The shots curved around the human vessel, sliding harmlessly into the void. It was not shielding. It was not defense. It was the universe refusing to touch them. Alien fleets gasped in disbelief. Engineers shouted at their screens. Weapons locked true, but space bent. Space bent. The human ship moved then, not forward, not backward, but through. It vanished, reappearing among the enemy lines. Massive cruisers swerved, colliding in panic. The fragile vessel drifted between them like smoke between stones, but it still did not fire. It did not need to. Its silence was more terrifying than any weapon. The Zorath commander screamed in rage. "Cowards! Fight us!" The human captain's reply was quiet. "Why should we fight what we already surpass?" The words fell like knives. The arena's crowds, billions watching across the stars, felt the truth sink into their bones. Humanity did not need to win battles. They had already won the war before it began, because while the galaxy grew loud with power, Earth had grown silent with patience. The fragile ship finally drifted back to the center of the arena, its engines dim. It had faced weapons, storms, gravity, fire, and it had never broken. The council speaker's voice was faint now. "The humans cannot be judged." The arena held its breath, One fragile ship had turned the galaxy upside down, and every empire understood the same terrible thought. If this was the beginning, if this was only the smallest glimpse of human patience, then the true fleets of Earth, hidden in silence, would be unstoppable. The arena of stars was silent. Billions watched from every corner of the galaxy, their eyes fixed on the fragile human ship. The vessel floated calmly in the center, thin and plain, a shadow among giants. Yet it had faced storms of radiation, the pull of a black hole, the fury of a cruiser, and the combined fire of fleets, and it had endured. It had not fired once. It had not broken once. It had not even tried to boast. And that silence terrified the galaxy more than any weapon. The alien admirals sat frozen, their hands hovering over controls, unsure whether to attack again or flee. They had seen their beams bend, their engines fail, their pride shattered. The Zorath commander, his voice raw with fury, tried one last time to shout, "You are still weak. One ship is nothing. One vessel cannot frighten the galaxy." The human captain's voice answered softly, steady as stone. "One ship is all we needed." The words struck harder than cannons. The arena shivered with unease. Inside the fragile vessel, the crew held their silence. Their eyes were steady, their hands calm. They had carried the secret for their lives, as their ancestors had carried it before them. This was their duty, not to fight, not to destroy, but to remind the galaxy of patience. The council speaker, his crystal wings dimmed, could barely raise his voice. "Humans, at your trial is complete. You are free to go, free to go." The galaxy expected the humans to demand tribute, to seize glory, to claim victory. But the fragile ship made no demand. It simply turned, its thin engines humming, and began to leave the arena. No fireworks, no threats, no words of conquest, only silence. That silence spoke louder than anything. It told the galaxy that humanity did not need to conquer. Humanity did not need to shout. Humanity had already won, because they had waited for 1,000 years. On the fleets of alien empires, whispers filled the command decks. If one ship holds such power, how many more wait in hiding? What if Earth has entire fleets silent in the dark? What if they already watch us unseen? No one knew, and that was the true victory. The fragile vessel drifted beyond the arena's edge, its hull glowing faintly against the stars. It shrank into the distance, smaller and smaller, until it was gone. The arena remained still. No one spoke. No one moved, because every admiral, every soldier, every citizen watching across the galaxy carried the same thought in their chest. Do not provoke Earth. For the first time in memory, the galaxy feared not the loudest empire, not the strongest fleet, but the quiet patience of a species they once called children. The human ship had left without firing a single shot, yet it had reshaped the galaxy forever. In the shadows of distant systems, whispers began. "The humans are not weak. They are not young. They are old, older than we knew. And their silence is not ignorance, it is strength." Rumors spread faster than light. Some claimed humanity had entire hidden armadas, waiting in silence. Others believed Earth had mastered the secrets of the universe itself, and this fragile ship was only a fragment of their power. No one could prove the truth. And the humans did not answer. They did not need to. The fragile ship was gone. But its shadow remained over every fleet, every council, every empire. And in the quiet corners of the galaxy, leaders began to ask themselves the same question. If humanity had waited 1,000 years to reveal one ship, what else were they still waiting for? The arena of stars dimmed, its trials finished. But the lesson lingered like a wound. Strength can be measured, weapons can be counted, but patience cannot be defeated. And humanity had mastered patience. The galaxy would never laugh again. The fragile human ship vanished into the dark between stars. But its shadow did not. Across the galaxy, empires whispered. They had seen beams bend, gravity fold, and cruisers collapse before silence. And yet, no one could explain how. No one could prove what had happened. In council chambers and war rooms, leaders shouted in fear, "We must prepare. We must build more ships. No, do not provoke them. Do you wish to end up like the cruiser? If we wait, Earth will surround us." But all their arguments fell into the same silence. They were not afraid of what humanity had shown. They were afraid of what humanity had not shown. If one fragile ship could do this, How many more were out there? Far beyond the arena of stars, in the cold void where sensors failed and maps ended, humanity gathered. Not in one place, not in one fleet, but in hundreds, scattered through the dark like hidden constellations. They called them the shadow fleets. For 1,000 years they had been built in silence. Not in orbit of bright stars, but in the black between galaxies. Hulls forged from quiet metals that bent light. Engines that hummed like whispers. Each ship carried the same secret the fragile vessel had revealed in the arena. Each was patient. Each was silent. Each was waiting. The ship that faced the galaxy's trial had been the smallest, the weakest, a messenger, nothing more. Its mission was never to fight, never to conquer. It was to remind the galaxy of one truth. Humanity had never stopped preparing. In the hidden fleet, the captain of the trial ship stood before his crew. His face was calm, but his voice carried weight. The galaxy has seen enough. They will not mock us again. Now they will fear us. His officers nodded, but none looked proud. None cheered, because the humans knew what came next. Fear was dangerous. Fear led to desperate wars, to foolish attacks. The galaxy would not stay silent forever. Some empire would test them again. Some ruler, blinded by pride, would try to strike at Earth. And when that day came, humanity would answer, not with one fragile ship, but with the shadow fleets. Back in the core worlds, alien spies tried to uncover Earth's secret. They sent probes. They dispatched cloaked scouts. They interrogated traders who had brushed near the Sol system. Every report came back the same. Nothing. The solar system looked ordinary. Earth still spun blue and green. Mars still gleamed red. The colonies shined faintly with the lights of cities. No fleets hovered, no armies waited. Humanity appeared open, weak, vulnerable. And that frightened the empires most of all, because if the fleets were not near Earth, where were they? One empire, desperate to claim an advantage, made a reckless choice. The Drakari, proud hunters of the spiral arm, sent 20 warships into the silent dark beyond known charts. They thought to find humanity's shadow, to steal the secret. Their transmissions lasted 3 weeks, then silence. No wreckage was found. No survivors crawled home. The 20 ships were simply gone, as if they had never existed. The message was clear. Humanity was watching. Humanity was waiting. The Drakari denied the loss, pretending their fleet was still on patrol. But the galaxy knew. Whispers spread faster than light. The shadow fleets had moved. Back on Earth, the people lived quietly. Cities bustled. Children laughed. Farmers grew crops under twin suns in distant colonies. To them, life was ordinary. The secret was not theirs to carry. Only a few, captains, admirals, the watchers of silence, knew the truth, and they would never speak it. Because the secret was not a weapon. It was not a machine, it was patience. Patience to wait 1,000 years. Patience to let the galaxy mock, laugh, and jeer. Patience to smile as others built louder and stronger, and then crumble in their own noise. The shadow fleets were not fleets of war. They were fleets of silence. A reminder that humanity did not rise by accident. Humanity chose its moment, and when the next moment came, the galaxy would remember the arena of stars, the fragile ship, and the truth that silence was stronger than noise. The arena had been humanity's beginning. The shadow fleets would be its future. The galaxy waited nervously, but only the humans knew. The trial was not the end. It was the warning, and the real test had not yet begun.